So the SJC just heard an oral argument today in the DiZoglio audit case. I sat through this. I was going to live stream it, but it was a little torturous to go through it, right? It was a little tough to watch and to understand. So I had to digest what happened. I'm going to give you my opinion on this. So, and look, I'm not a lawyer, not an attorney, okay? I'm just a guy who's been following this closely, and I want to give you my read or my opinion on what happened in the courtroom today. So a quick reset for anybody who needs it. The voters here in Massachusetts passed question 1 in 2024. 72% of us said yes to give the state auditor the power to audit the legislature. That's what question 1 was. And the legislature, obviously, they stonewalled. That's why we're in the position that we are in now. And DiZoglio tried to sue them. The Attorney General, Andrea Campbell, decided that she needed more time to think about whether or not she was going to help. Under normal circumstances, she would. So the auditor, Diana DiZoglio, said, you know what, forget it, and filed the lawsuit herself. Then what ended up happening is that Campbell, she moved to have the entire thing thrown out. This was on behalf of Ron Mariano and Karen Spilka. So now here's where we are today. This is how I read the room. The justices there, and first of all, I'm happy that there was multiple justices and not one. I think that was to both sides' benefit, right? They weren't sitting back passively taking notes or something there. To me, it looked like they were a little bit annoyed with both sides. And that's just me being honest. That's the way that I read it. Maybe you saw something differently. But they did keep coming back to the AG side with the same basic question asked in multiple different ways, right? Which was, you know, it's been over a year. What exactly are you still waiting for? Now, remember, Campbell's entire excuse this entire time has been that she couldn't move forward because DiZoglio never told her the full scope of what she wanted to audit. Obviously, we know that the auditor is very thorough and she provided reports of exactly what she wanted to audit. That's been the Attorney General's stance and her cover story for the last 15 plus months, that she needed more information on that the auditor it basically didn't answer the questions that she wanted. So to me, the I need more information argument, it's not going to hold up anymore. It's not going to hold up anymore because the information is out there. It was public, and now it was presented in front of the SJC. And of course, the 4 things that the auditor is looking for, or they were asking for, were the budgets, past financial audits, monetary transactions, and settlement agreements. These were the inside of the January requests all along. That's not a moving target, right? That is what it is. That looks pretty straightforward to me. And we've talked about this before. But today in the courtroom, the justices seemed to see it the same exact way as well, meaning it seemed like they were a little bit more favorable to the auditor versus the Attorney General. Now, they did corner the auditor's attorney or her lawyer a little bit here and made her confirm there right at the podium that this case is strictly about those 4 specific things that the legislature needs to hand over. Again, the budget, past financial records, monetary transactions, and settlement agreements. Nothing more, nothing less. So the way I'm reading this, the way I saw this, once her attorney said that and put it on the record, the judges, to me, and again, I could be wrong here, but to me, it looked like that they were a little bit more satisfied. Like the case just got somewhat manageable and manageable enough for something that they could actually work with. So then the justices themselves, and this is very important, this is the biggest takeaway that at least I got, was that they started floating the idea of ordering the AG to make a final decision to give them a hard deadline around 30 days to either fish or to cut the bait. So basically, the AG's lawyer said they would abide by whatever the court orders. Now look, even the lawyers say that, but like this happens all the time. But the fact is that the justices are even shopping for ways, again, at least to me, they were shopping for ways to force this thing forward. That's what it looked like to me, right? So it seemed as though they were not favorable to the fact that the Attorney General has been stalling, right? So my honest interpretation, this is it. This doesn't feel like a court that's getting ready to throw out the whole case. It didn't seem like that at all to me, but it does feel like a court that's getting ready to force a decision that Campbell has been running from for 15 months. That's the way it looked to me. And the worst part is, the most frustrating part of this entire thing was, number one, it took forever to get to this point, okay? If you watched it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the fact is that the actual question that everybody wants answered is if DiZoglio can audit the legislature. That was not even discussed today. We're not even, and I've talked about this before, we're not even at that point yet inside of this audit. This entire hearing was just about the procedural wall that Andrea Campbell built around the entire case. So look at it this way. You got to think about this, at least, critically for a second here. If Andrea Campbell is putting that much energy to kind of keeping these books closed or these books secret, and then basically siding with Ron Mariano and Karen Spilka, then what exactly are we doing here? I hope that the SJCs actually see what's going on here. So basically now we're just going to have to wait. We have to wait for the official ruling to come out, which could be in the next couple of weeks or maybe even longer, to see what happens. Hopefully, and again, my read on this, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as humanly possible, I really am. To me, the read was that they both scrutinized both sides, but to me, it seemed like a win for the auditor because they basically are trying to force the hand of the Attorney General. That's what I think happened here, in not so many words and in not so many ways. But that's the read that I got. You guys can let me know in the comments what you thought. It's very technical, right? There's a lot of attorney language, and it did take me a little bit of time to fully grasp what was going on. I watched it about 3 times at 2x speed, but we finally got to this point. So I'd say this is a win, right? I would say this is a win, but again, it's not a win. It's a stepping stone to get the actual audit. That's what this was about. So we're not even there yet. This is just a piece of the puzzle that we're trying to figure out. So anyway, that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments, how you read it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm somewhat right. I'm not entirely sure, but that was my read. Bye-bye.